All right, Bulls and Bears, what's going on? It is Thursday, July 8th, 2021. I really appreciate you being here. A lot of news to get caught up on today, and it's going to continue down the same path. There's really no improvement that we can find here in this economy, and actually, things are getting worse in many different areas, and we're going to talk about those. But first, let's just take a look at an article right here, just out of the gate to get started. And this is something that we've talked about many times before. Workers are quitting their jobs, and it says right here, like crazy. There's a big epidemic of people just walking away from their job. And a lot of people are talking about it on mainstream media and trying to figure it out. We have this panel right here, they're talking about it. And there's a lot of different things that are being looked at, anything from childcare to the sickness issue, the fact that many people are getting extra benefits still, even going in now a year and a half until the Great Shutdown, or a year and a half since the Great Shutdown began. And all those things are factors, but one factor that I don't think anyone's really talking about is why work to just be broke, right? So why work to just end up being broke at the end, or to still be in debt? So most of you know, most of the population, even before the Great Sickness, about 70% or more people were living paycheck to paycheck. Most people are in debt. Most people will never get out of debt. It's just the way the system is designed. And it's not all the system. A lot of people choose to be in debt. People buy things that they don't really have to have. So you have to look at both sides of the situation. But I think in this case where prices are just continuing to rise and people see their paycheck not going up that much, or definitely not up high enough or fast enough to keep up with the rising prices and the rising costs. And I think the discouragement levels are not being talked about enough. People are discouraged. So let's weigh out the options here. I can go to work hard every day, probably spin my wheels, probably still be in debt. Like most people, probably just barely scraping by. Or I cannot work at all and be in the same situation. Maybe worse, maybe you'll be on the street if you decide not to work, or maybe you have a relative you can live with. Maybe you're like most millennials that still live at home with their parents. Most of the younger millennials anyway. All right, see what I'm getting at here? So there's a big discouragement factor that I don't think anyone's really talking about. And it goes back to the way that a lot of people describe how they feel. You work really hard, and a lot of people feel like they're just not getting anywhere. You work hard, but you're not getting anywhere. So the solution that some put out there, some say, well, don't work hard, work smart. Okay, well, can you work smart, or do you have to invest? Do you have to go try to put your money somewhere, put it in the markets, put it in digital assets? Basically bet your money, right? Because otherwise, just basing it on the wages, you're not going to keep up with the rising costs. All right, most new graduates especially, but most millennials are priced out of the housing market. It's just the way it is. The home ownership rate for younger people in the millennial age groups is very low. Once you start looking at people 45 and up, then the home ownership rate is a bit higher. So there's an obvious correlation between wages and home ownership, and a lot of people feel like there's never going to be a chance of even buying a home, so why work? Because we're going to be living at home with mom and dad anyway, right? I think that's a lot of people think that, and you let me know what you think. Maybe you feel like this yourself. And I've said this before, if I wouldn't have bought when I bought here in San Diego, just moving here today in 2021 with these current home prices, I wouldn't have been able to afford to live here. No way. Right? So I get it. I know how a lot of people are feeling, and you feel like you're just spinning your wheels. And what I've called it the gerbil debt wheel, or the hamster debt wheel. I'm not too well versed on which animal's running these little wheels you see, but you know what I'm getting at. It's a treadmill of never-ending debt, especially for a lot of people, and especially younger people. But even older people, retired people living on limited incomes and Social Security may give you a 1% bump up each year. In the meantime, gas has almost doubled in the past 1 or 2 years, depending on where you live. Rents have went up a lot more than just 1%. In some areas as high as 20, 25%, 30% year over year. crazy, insane rising prices, and there's not anything being done to stop it. Let's take a look at mortgage rates. Where are mortgage rates? Sliding again, another low in mortgage rates, the lowest since we've seen last winter. And we know the Fed's heavily involved in manipulating that number in the bond market. We see the 10-year bond is down to 1.28 right now. And it looks like the Fed's just going to continue to prop up the housing market, which what is it going to do? It's going to cause prices to continue to rise. Another recent article, this is out of AP, another new record in job openings, another record high. Low number of people getting laid off because companies are having a hard time finding people, so layoffs are at a low. And openings, another record. The latest numbers, it went from 9.19 million job openings in April to now, the last month we have data, which is May, 9.21 million job openings. All right, now that number is going to be revised as they get more updates and more data. But this is pretty crazy. I mean, you guys let me know. Is it the discouragement factor? Is that a bigger part of this than they're actually talking about? And when I watch the financial channels, the business channels, a lot of them are scratching their heads and they can't figure it out either. All right, let's take a look at the latest job numbers. The latest job numbers are out today on Thursday. And another great headline, right? Hip, hip, hooray. 850,000 payrolls gained during the month of June. That seems pretty good on the surface until you look at the latest number on new jobless filings. And this comes out weekly, so we have to multiply this to really get a good picture of what's going on here. 373,000 per week. Let's just put that in about a month's term by multiplying it by 4 weeks. And you're at 1.492 million. So 1,492,000 approximately new jobless filings. But jobs being added are only 850,000. So you do the math on that and you let me know, please, where is the recovery? All right, we're going on a year and a half since the shutdown, and that's still being put out there as the excuse for all of this carnage. Yes, there was a lot of carnage because of the shutdowns, and many, many small businesses went under that will never, ever be able to come back. And we saw the evidence of that with the shift in profits and even bigger profits being realized at the mega corporations. Right, a lot of the small business competition was eliminated, so the big guys, the big multinationals, basically gained even larger and larger portion of the market share. We saw Bezos go out and get another yacht, and a mega yacht that he had to have a separate yacht to have off of that. And it's just wild. I don't know where it's going to end. But things aren't looking so good, folks. Gas prices continuing to surge. I thank goodness every day that I'm working from home. I don't have much of a commute, unless you count taking kid to school, which is not too far. But it's bad. I feel sorry for the people out there that are already, on the edge financially, so to speak. But this thing is just getting started. No solutions are being discussed. Fasten your seatbelts. Continue to prepare, everybody. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments, please. And also, I'm not sure what's going on with the link to the outro music. Some people say it's not working. Please let me know down in comments if that link is working. Even if you don't like the songs at the end, please let me know if the link is working just by clicking it if you could, because I don't know why Google would block a link to a song. I don't know if it's intended or if it's just a glitch or what. But thanks, everybody, for being here. Stay well. Peace. Stay prepared. Keep stacking. Bye.